Good afternoon. Thank you for taking the time for me to present the following report, which is a sentiment analysis on Twitter feeds with regards to movie reviews with the aid of Python. In order to run sentiment analysis, data or a dataset is first required. I was able to use the URL link attached to gain access to a dataset containing mass Twitter feeds on movie reviews. Next step is to figure out how this sentiment analysis is going to be run. Usually you have two options, it's either or. With movie reviews, it is either positive or negative. It is possible to run analysis that would have more options such as mediocre, semi-positive. However, this would involve a lot more complicated programming. Therefore, for this project, we are going to stick to positive and negative reviews. The dataset I used has both positive and negative reviews mixed together. Therefore, the first task was to separate the two. Due to time constraints, about 1/4 of the data in the dataset was used. Once the reviews are separated into two different text documents and saved in the Python directory, I uploaded them onto Python to make sure it was saved in the right directory. In order to do this, I used the open function to open the text I am looking for. In this case, pos.text for positive reviews and neg.text for negative reviews. After opening the necessary file, we need to have Python read it using the .red function. Trying to open all the features of the file crashed the program a few times. For this reason, to verify the files were open, I determined the length. The next step was to create a corpus so that we can easily run a sentiment analysis similar to other corpus files, using a naive-byte classifier to train and test the corpus. To do this, we need to import the plain text corpus reader and know the location of the text files we will be working with. As seen in the code, two corpora were created, Twitter_pos and Twitter_neg. Before training and testing the data, we need to create a feature set for the data we will be working with. A feature is basically another term for the words in the dataset. For this reason, to define the feature, we will use the following code displayed. However, before I could assign how many features will be trained and tested, I had to deal with the following error. I was unable to determine what the Unicode decode error was. However, using a Mac and an OS X operating system, I did have a lot of issues with Python determining the right file paths. To make sure the files were in the right path in which a corpora were created, I ran a simple code as displayed, and both came out positive. I tried altering the code quite a few times, however did not have any luck creating a feature for the corpora created. For this reason, I decided to move away from creating corpora and load the files directly onto idle. In order to proceed, I once again used the open and .read functions to load the text files. To clean the data, I decided to use a regular expression tokenizer function. To sort out the unstructured text, a pattern was created that can be used on both the positive and negative text. The verbose flag is used to strip out whitespace. I was initially going to use the -w to only pull out any alphanumeric characters. However, I was curious to know how other features such as punctuations worked in favor of reviews. For example, do question marks have more negative connotations and exclamation marks have more positive? The importing and tokenizing code from the previous slide was implemented into the sentiment analysis code. Since the corpus approach did not work in detecting the right file path, a different approach was used to identify the features. Unfortunately, as seen in the code displayed, Python was once again having issues recognizing the right file path. I tried using a different approach by placing copies of the text files in a different directory and using an alternate code. As seen once again, a value error is displayed, stating that there is too many values to unpack. This got me contemplating whether using NLTK's regular expression tokenizer is a good idea. A simple alternative would be to use the re.findAll function. Since I was having trouble getting Python to identify the right path, I decided to use the os.path function on the same text files as seen in the screenshot, and the regular expression tokenizer was replaced with the re.findAll function. These codes were found from the second try sentiment analysis in Python paper, which can be found using the following URL link attached. I was finally able to move forward with the sentiment analysis. I decided to train 3/4 of the features and test 1/4 while using a naive Bayes classifier to train the features. The following print functions were used to determine the accuracy, precision, and recall for both the negative and positive Twitter reviews. The classifier function is used to determine the 10 most informative features. Taking a look at the results obtained, we can concur that 2,733 features were trained and 912 were tested. An accuracy of 0.72 was obtained, with a precision and recall of 0.73 and 0.71 for positive reviews, and 0.72 and 0.73 for negative reviews. Taking a look at the 10 features, we notice that 8 are negative features to 2 positive. The feature already seems to be 11 times more likely to be used in a negative review. This is interesting as the word itself does not have a negative connotation to it. However, when used in a movie review, it could reference lack of originality and therefore is a negative review from that standpoint. For comparison purposes, the sentiment analysis was ran again, evaluating the top 10 feature words and the top 100 feature words. Immediate alterations you will notice are an increase in accuracy and precision. The more features trained and tested, the more accurate the analysis is. The written language and spoken language are always misinterpreted. The way certain features are placed or used in text can mean something entirely different. The tone in which a phrase is spoken can convey an alternative meaning if it was to be written down. This is very similar to the word already that we discussed in our analysis earlier. For this reason, sentiment analysis and natural language processing is a very useful tool in determining the tone or attitude of the person speaking or writing. This concludes my presentation. Thank you.